in our next story, I'm going to talk about what I alluded to earlier, and that is just the disappointment I feel from the progressive base, from AOC, from the squad members, and just how upset I am that I feel like they're just not doing enough. They're not doing enough. They're not fighting enough, and I think this proves it. So, this is from Politico. Biden keeps the progressive angst at bay. The potential flashpoints have come more frequently in recent weeks, but so far, the White House has kept the peace. I wonder why. Because you can only keep the peace when the opponents want peace, when they're willing to placate towards peace. We'll go into the story. After days of progressives fuming over the failure to prevent the federal eviction moratorium from expiring, the White House abruptly shifted its calculus on Tuesday and enacted a new ban. It was a remarkable 180. For days, Biden aides had claimed that it was powerless to act, citing the likelihood that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention would be rebuked by the courts. It was a symbolic reversal, too. Biden's retreat calmed a potential combustible intra-party rift, though it is a sign of the lengths to which he has been willing to go to keep restive Democrats unified amid the push to pass his agenda. Now, what is his agenda? Now, as we covered so many times, as we could see from his actions, Biden's agenda is same old song and dance. Same verse, second is the first. Illegal wars, money for Wall Street, and these minimal social and economic reforms when he could be doing sweeping reforms. And his ability to, while he say is a good thing, to reach across the aisle and make these bipartisan exchanges. As you can see, when you do bipartisan bills, you end up with the infrastructure bill, which is a giant privatization scheme. It's not good to work with the Republicans, and he is so comfortable with it because he is a moderate Republican. Now, the issues I have with being pragmatic and how it seems like the left and the Justice Democrats are playing politics in a way that's really ugly and dirty, because they, now that they're in power, they realize that after 5 years of being in Congress, you basically have a full-time pension. You can retire if you're in there 5 years, and that's not included with the money of book deals, the money of speeches. You don't have to take big money. There's still a lot of money in politics to be made without taking money from big interest groups. And when they start to realize that, and start to realize like you want to work, you don't want to be as much of an outlier anymore. You want to work a little bit more within the system, a little bit more within the establishment, because you want to secure your seat. And that's the name of the game, but that's why people hate politics, and that's why politics are disgusting. Because AOC said that within Biden's first 100 days that he exceeded expectations. They gave him an A. Now, how does he exceed expectations? Because I think he met expectations by doing illegal wars, by keeping kids in cages. He didn't shut those places down. They were remaining open. Sure, what? Now the kids have pillows? Is that the difference? Is this the difference we're stressing? Maybe that they're more comfortable in more comfortable cages, but they're still in cages. So when I hear top liberal lawmakers who are supposed to be progressive, supposed to be on our side, say that Biden supports our agenda, I don't know where you see that, because Joe Biden doesn't support Medicare for all. He ran on a public option and hasn't even pushed for that. Joe Biden doesn't support a $15 minimum wage. He sure doesn't support a living wage. Absolutely not. He blasted that down. And Joe Biden does not support true immigration reform. These are things that he's always passing the buck on. Can we remember when it came to a $15 minimum wage being implemented into the COVID relief bill, he pushed it off to the parliamentarian. See, this is what's interesting, is because Biden constantly saying these things can't be done, even that he has no power, but saying that he's not pushing for them. He's not saying they need to be done. He's saying they can't be done. So it's manufacturing a negative response already. So when it's put in front of the parliamentarian, they're thinking in their head that no, we're going to shoot this down because the boss says, like, the boss isn't fighting for it. And let's not forget that the parliamentarian is an unelected official. Someone that just makes decisions like if we should get $15 an hour or not when we're all sick and dying. So what's these people are also signing on to this horrible privatization of infrastructure bill that we spoke about earlier. They're signing on to this. And all the talks of the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill, we will see what happens with that, but I expect it to be gutted. And this is what's horrible. I expect it to be gutted. I expect it to be, when we actually see it on the floor, maybe half of what it is. And if they sign it, if the Justice Democrats sign it, if the progressives sign it, we're going to look weak, and it will be a loss. And they're looking weak because they don't play hardball politics. They need to stand strong and say, this is what we need. They need to give, what the squad should be doing is giving 10 things, because they have a majority. The progressives have a majority in the Democratic wing. They need to present 10 things that Biden can change with executive order, give it to Biden and say, this is what we want, and then haggle back and forth. Play a little politics instead of just rolling over. They're playing politics in the wrong way. They're playing this placating politics where they're just gonna, play it easy, play it safe, instead of ruffling some feathers and getting some things done and fighting. Because if you fight a little bit, you're gonna get elected. You're gonna get reelected. People will see it. The fact that AOC is seen as one of the least useful members of the Senate, like, that's horrible. Because she does have some great ideas, but when you're not getting anything done, that shows. I expect even Bernie to really step up, but even he is slacking, and it's sad to see that even Bernard Sanders is slacking with the heat. All these provisions he let go in the infrastructure bill, he signed on to the privatization of the infrastructure bill. And why he may think that it's going to help his $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill, it hurts to see him roll over like that. As he wants to fight against the Authorized Use of Military Force Act of 2001. But is he really standing up against Biden disavowing the $15 minimum wage? Biden not fighting for a public option? Where is Bernie's spark? I feel like we need a new progressive leader. Unfortunately, it's hard. It hurts to say that, but I think Bernie has stepped down to more of a political role where he's just trying to fit in more. It's sad to see, because he was such a rebel, and while I do think his ideas live on in other people, and I don't think he's not gonna fight for them, but he's just not gonna fight as hard. Biden doesn't fight the parliamentarian. He won't fight for the filibuster, claiming that it would do more harm than good, that nothing would get done with a 50% vote. Like, what? These are things that Biden has complete control over, and he refuses to change. And so nothing gets done. And yet the progressive say, we learned to love the guy. Never. He could do great things for the next 3 years, and I wouldn't love him. At least I'd respect him in the time that he had. But he won't do these great things. He won't legalize marijuana. He won't end the wars. He won't end the drug war. He won't He won't give us a public option or single payer. He won't break up Wall Street, big pharma. He won't do anything. He won't do anything for us. He'll continue the status quo. And the real problem is that the progressive left feels like now that they are being respected and that they are being given a seat at the table, that it's all worth it in the end. That But it's not, because he's placating towards us. This is exactly how adults treat children. If you let a child sit at the adult table, say during Thanksgiving, at the end they don't have any outcome in the way the conversation goes, or any real valid opinion that matters, but they feel like they're important. But it doesn't matter where you're sitting. At the end of the day, you still got to eat the same bowl of shit. And that's what Biden's feeding us. And I'm tired of it. I'm sick of eating it.